Good. All right, so we're going to start off our presentation here by actually reading you the first bit of the book.
First couple of sentences, it won't take long.
Yeah. Take a deep breath and unfasten your intellectual seatbelt. You're about to be given a key to better understand who you really are, what shapes your view of the world, and most of all, why you think and act the way that you do. It's an opportunity to unleash your full capacity to live a more inspired life. What we've all been missing is a method to unlock, turn on, and drive our personal operating systems. The Body of Nine offers a comprehensive body-based process to better understand ourselves. We're continually informed by our bodies, our physical bodies, through the 9 distinct regions in the body that directly impact the way we experience our lives. We're each born with one region that's activated at birth. The active region is what we call the natural number. Based on that active region, the body develops and presents distinct physical characteristics, specifically in posture, movement, structure, the use of muscle, bone, and fascia. These innate physical characteristics, which are governed by nature, not our nurture, directly determine how we relate to ourselves and to others. That's a pretty succinct definition of what Body of Nine is actually about. Nine regions in the body that shape and inform our experience. One is born active. Our new name for it is natural number. And learning to activate all of the parts of the body, all 9, because they're all 9 in your body, actually gives you a path and a set of practices that lead to a better life and to more awareness, enhanced perception, and the ability to be with other people more deeply and more authentically.
So first of all, we want to sort of cover how we know this, how do we figure this stuff out, and give people the chance to help share their wisdom with us, and hence from us to you. So in 2012, we got together, and since then we've identified 7,000 people throughout the world. And what we have done is observe consistent attributes, movements, and structures that are consistent across each of the 9 natural numbers. We've interviewed each person, and as we go, we talk to everybody we work with and make sure that what we say resonates with that natural number. And we still, to this day, keep learning and learning more from the people we talk to. As you can tell from the diagram, the numbers are relatively evenly spread, at least the people that we've worked with. Although there is the interesting difference here that if you can look at the first, on the right-hand side, the first 4 numbers, the first 4 numbers actually, in terms of working with us, seem to be just over 50%. And that's very interesting because, as we'll start talking about today, the first 4 numbers are much more relationship focused than some of the others.
So just to describe the blue, the dark blue, the yellow, the light blue, and the orange is 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 go all the way around the wheel. So it goes in numerical order around the wheel. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 make up half of the population, but 4/9 of the different kinds of people.
So one of the major points behind this is that these are not things we've made up. These are observations that we've made. These are what we've heard from you or people like you about the things that we've learned. And so this is very much a passing on wisdom, not creating wisdom or new wisdom here.
Yes.
Next page. Thank you. So briefly, as an overview, here are the 9 regions. Natural number 1 is at the top of the throat. Natural number 2, the top of the 6-pack. Natural number 3 includes the eyes, the smile, and the top 2 ribs. Natural number 4, the lower abdomen. 5, which is my number, most of the top of the head. 6, which is Susan's number, the chest from about rib 2 downwards to the lower ribs. Natural number 7 is the 3rd eye. Natural number 8 is the sacrum, down the legs. And natural number 9 is most of the back region and some of the top ribs, making a cradle for the body.
On the back.
On the back. So what we're going to be covering today is the benefits of knowing your number and how that you can use this awareness and what we're going to teach you today to be able to work not just with yourself, but to work with the people around you. What we want to talk about is how to more deeply connect with yourself and honor your inner self. What you're probably not aware of is that in any family, the numbers don't repeat. So you and your brothers and sisters, your spouse, your parents don't share the same number. There are many words that are specifically, well, have a specific meaning for each of the natural numbers. So you may say something, and while somebody else hears those words, the meaning that they ascribe to those words is going to be completely different. So again, the reinforcement today is people are different, infinitely different in their nurture, very similarly different, only 9 ways in their nature. Knowing that people hear you differently is going to help you communicate more effectively with your family and friends. And what we want to do today is give you some hints as to where to look to identify what is it that your friends and family would like you to, how to interact with them, what kind of natural numbers do they perhaps have. At work, you'll be able to work more cohesively with your co-workers. It is very likely if you work in a large organization, you'll have all 9, but what is it that some people want? Which people are going to look for eye contact? Which people don't really care about eye contact? Which people are, let's get things done? Which people are, let's sit and talk and have a relationship before we start doing anything. It is very unlikely that you're going to be attracted to someone of the same natural number that you are. We believe that our emotions, our love, come and are given and are received from our natural number center. We've recently learned that emotions can be easily managed by our natural number center, and knowing what that center is and the physical process we can give you to activate that natural center are going to make your life easier in terms of dealing with romance, dealing with relationship, dealing with emotions that many of us are actually not that connected to. And as it turns out, our passions and our careers don't always match our unique gifts. Most of the time, most people are lucky enough to find something that actually does support their unique gift. But if you've gone to a place of work where somebody thought that this would be the best thing for you to do, or perhaps it's better to make money than be happy, well, we can talk about some of those things, because what actually makes you happy may not be the place that you're working. So what we're looking to be here is to give you the chance to meet with people, to realize the rest of the world is not the same as you, but give you the chance to be honored as who you are so you can live your most authentic and inspired life.
So what are the attributes? How do we tell this? People ask us this all the time. And what are we looking for, and how do we learn to see it out in the world around us? Because this is everywhere. I think one of the reasons we don't see it is we very rarely end up in a group of people where there's more than 1 or 2 of the same natural number. So we don't get to see what that looks like when there's 4 or 5, 6 of a natural number in a space. So your physiology is constantly telling people about which natural number is active in your body. Also eye quality and eye contact. The first 4 natural numbers use eye contact as part of their natural strength. And you'll notice with 1, 2, 3s, and 4s, there's actually a shift in the way the eyes work. So first they make a connect, first they look at you, and then there's a change in the quality of the eye as you're looking at them. Whereas 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, there's not a lot of change in the quality of our eyes. They stay pretty much the same. We can learn to engage, and we can learn engagement with the eye, but it's much more learned, and it comes as a response to what a 1, 2, or 3, or 4 has asked us to do with our eye contact. Physical proximity is another indicator. Some people like to be nice and close. Some people are like, yeah, good. You stay over there, I'll stay over here. A person's response to your physical proximity tells you something about them. Body shape and tone are also strong indicators. Where and how do you hold tone in your body? What part of your body grabs your attention, really? And then face shape and feature are quite distinct. At the beginning of the call, I was mentioning how John and I have similar features. 6s have jowl between the nose and the mouth. This kind of jowl in the face. Other natural numbers don't share that same jowl in the face. So if you notice that, you might be dealing with a 6. And then our movement and our gestures are also a very big indicator. We tend to gesture from the height of our natural, our region that's activated. We tend to have different kinds of gestures depending on which natural number is the most active. So I'll tell you a lot more about that. So for face shape and feature, earlier I was asking Michael to turn sideways because I wanted to see the jawline. The jawline for natural number one is that sweet little girl there. She is instinctively lifting up and moving forward from her throat. She's looking for connection, even as she's being photographed as a little girl. This is a natural, obvious. In fact, her one was more obvious when she was little than as she grew, because she began to imitate her mother, who's a 2, and her father, who's a 3. But her one is so beautifully obvious. Soft, receptive eyes, and if she was turned sideways, you'd see a line that goes down, and then when the chin comes up, this line goes parallel to the ground. So if you see that distinct chin and an open throat, often an indicator of natural number one. Natural number two, Arnie in the bottom left, they're just ready to engage. They're ready to be with us. Babe Ruth, that's a classic 8 face. One of my sort of pet peeves out in the world is we do not understand the natural facial expressions and what they mean. We misinterpret natural facial expressions all the time. If you look at Babe Ruth, you might think he's pissed. He's not. He's in his power in that shot. His jaw is set. He's aware. His eyes are ready. And that is the most beautiful expression of power and presence that you see only in the face of natural number 8. If that expression was on the face of a 1, they would be pissed. So this is how we learn to, we end up misinterpreting each other's signals, because we believe that all the signals basically mean the same thing. If I cross my arms, I'm not being friendly. Well, not so true. Turns out 6s like to cross our arms because it supports our chest, and it actually makes us more present and more available. But it gets misunderstood because of the differences. So we've got,
Steve.
yes. Well, I was going to go up to 5, but I'll go to Steve. Steve, number 6. He had an amazing, if you watched him when he performed, he actually got so aware that he was able to handle with his timing and his speed, and his sense of the energy was so incredible. And that came from his natural number 6ness. And you see in his face the same jowl between the nose and the cheek. He's got a little smile, but the jowl is still there. And there's 4 7s in that bottom right-hand corner, and every one of them you can see that brow. See how that brow is prominent? It's almost like they're looking at you from their third eye instead of their little eyes. What our 7s like to call their little eyes. They don't really use them very much. And all their eyes have this infinite quality to them. And then Jane Horrocks up in the right-hand corner, she's looking up and drawing her strength from her connection up, not from her, from any other place, because she's a 5. So our face shapes are very different, and our features are different. Our body shape and tone is also really different. So you look at Adelina Savnitskaya, the 6, she is just celebrating with her chest. She's celebrating with the intensity and power of her chest. Whereas Jackie Warren, the 1 ballet dancer, you can see her lifting and opening her throat so incredibly. It's practically straight up. Try doing that. That is really hard. So each of the natural numbers have a very different kind of tone in their bodies. 8s have a solid tone. They're very connected to the earth. That's Moshe Feldenkrais, who came up with a body-based healing methodology that was based around, I think, the proper alignment of the body. And you could just see him drawing in power from the earth down from his sacrum down into the earth. And if you think about Michael Jackson, his movement was all from the lower body. He was famous for his ability to move his body from the lower abdomen, which is the region for 4. And then there's a 2 doing a back bend in the upper right-hand corner. And you can see how lifted he is right at the upper abdomen. So the most of the bend in his body is at the level of the bottom of the ribs. Can you guys see the mouse when we put it over there and move it around? Good. Excellent. Martin shall become the mouser now. Then we have movement and gesture. So natural, if you watch Bruno Mars when he sings or he dances, he has this amazing ability to roll at the throat. That's that one movement. It's so cool. There's a carpool karaoke that's on our YouTube channel. On the YouTube channel, we have lists of performers by natural numbers. So you can go and see what this movement actually looks like. But this like throat rolling movement that ones are able to do is so cool. And he does it like with such panache. And then, you know, John Travolta, famous for his movement. It's all centered around the center of his sternum. He's a 6. So you get this chesty, chest popping, chest moving, and everything is centered around that part of the body. Very, very different. And then our 7s, it's like, okay, it's all coming out from the third eye. And the third eye is part of the gesture. The head is part of the gesture. 7s move their heads more than any other natural number in terms of the way they punctuate their world with their head. For me as a 6, punctuating with my head is a very challenging thing to do. But my chest, no problem. 3s keep their arms up high. The guy in the bottom left, they are able to keep their arms up really high all the time, and they'll do a lot of pointing. They also tend to do a lot of pointing because it's about focusing, and they like to focus on you. And so there's always somebody that's there at the center of their focus. We'll see our 5s gesturing often from the top of the head. This Lady Gaga there, it's like, oh, here we go, and everything is up for 5. It's all up. And then we have beautiful Yuna Kim. Boy, could she do a back bend. So she balances from the center of her back. Can you imagine being in that position? I'm like, oh my God. You know, first of all, most of us are too stiff to get in that position. The other amazing thing about the movement for natural number 9 is they have this ability to let the movement flow all the way into the end of the fingertips. Look how soft her fingers are. It's stunning. And you only see that softness in 9 that goes all the way out to the extremities. It's so amazing, just beautiful movement. So our movements are really distinct, and every movement we do and make tells other people about who we are. There's also an energy signature. My energy signature, you're getting kind of familiar with it. I'm an intense focus, but well, sometimes focus when I want to be. But I'm an intense, powerful person. That comes with my 6ness. So 6s typically have our voices carry, for example. And people stop and listen because it sounds like we're saying something that's important. Some of that's volume, but some of that is also timing. 6s are amazing at timing. And there's this energy signature that comes with 6 about what we're doing and what we're saying. If we're in action, it is important, because we understand what's so alive in the moment. The 7 in the upper right-hand corner, it's like, oh my God, he's revealing mysteries, you know, and that's all part of that signature of 7. 7s are mysterious people. That mystery is attractive, and it's one of the ways they get people to pay attention to them so that they can help us grow and change. Andy Goldsworthy, the natural number 8 in the bottom right-hand corner. It's not a great picture of his face, but look at that incredible sculpture. I mean, it is so earthbound. It is so using the earth to teach us about the earth. It is, you know, and everything he did was like that. He used nature to show us nature. He used nature to show us power and a different way of being in the world through his art. I think he's still alive. Yeah. I don't mean to put him in the past. I love the 5 who's in that picture, whose name is like on the other side of the world right now. She does this song. She's a singer. Does anybody recognize who she is? The 5. Ingrid Michaelson. Yes, she does this song about boys. Anyway, if you go look at her stuff, Google her. She does this song that's all about how turning what we believe on its end, because you know, just being willing to question what you believe when you get new information, I think is really probably the best way to put that, which is very 5, very important thing. And then we have I believe that's Nuryev. He's a 4. And when you watch the 4s dance, when they dance from that low abdomen, it's just amazing. Like, look at that position. He's almost curved, but he's centered in the muscles of his low abdomen. And when he would jump and leap, that part of the body led him through his pirouetting. Amazing, amazing movements. And the 2, she's my friend Ashley. She is, I mean, she's got a butterfly sitting on her finger. 2s can interact with anything or anybody at any time. You watch a 2 be with an animal. It's incredible. They just have this way of engaging that invites us to engage with them. And then beautiful Alicia Keys. You watch her at a piano. She just, and then she has such an ethereal source level way of being, such an honoring, beautiful countenance. And that's the energy signature of natural number 1. It's really quite lovely. So proximity also. These are kind of fun shots because they tell you some interesting things. So if you look at the one with Jimmy Fallon and Harrison Ford Harrison Ford's perfectly comfortable being that close to Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon's like, what the hell's going on here? You know, now there, I'm sure with some shtick and some relationship stuff going on, but it's a really great example of how, you know, Six is like, well, why are you so close to me? You're crowding me and I'm starting to feel hot. And Harrison Ford's like, yeah, this is great. Let's get closer. Can I get any closer? Let me get a little closer, you know? And the same thing, George Harrison's perfectly comfortable being close in the bottom right picture. But Paul McCartney, who's a 9, is willing to accept it because he's in his own space and understands his place in the universe. And he knows that George is in the universe with him. And if George needs to be that way, it's okay with him. Because 9 holds a space for all of us to be who we are and where we are in the universal connection. And then the couple down at the bottom left, one's a 1 and the other's a 2. And they love to make eye contact. They can be really close to each other and make this beautiful eye contact and hold it forever, much, much longer than the rest of us might want to hold it, at least the 5 through 9s. So our comfort level with how close a person is and that making of the eye contact while we're in proximity tells us a lot as well. So eye contact, if you take nothing from this presentation, other than we use our eyes really differently, and you start to get curious about the quality of the eye, and I'm going to talk more about the quality of the eye of each of them. Once you begin to realize what those qualities are, you can start to actually see what people are offering you, start to understand what they're wanting and what they're offering. So it's very important to start to pay attention to how people use their eyes, the quality of the look in the eye, and the energy that you get from that connection. So this is an example of 3 people who have natural number 1. And here is the jawline is really quite distinct in all 3 of them. So you have the straight line down and this strong jaw. Often they have pointy chins, not uncommon for ones to have pointy chins, and this very open neck. And look at that neck on Pharrell Williams. I mean, it's very long. Now, not all ones have, you know, that slim neck. Some will have it, you know, if you have genetics where the chin is a little bit in and there's some material here, that can still be a 1, but for the most part, you see this jawline. You also see the receptivity in the eyes. So when one looks at you, see if I can get my one going, the eyes become receptive. They take you in and they honor you within that connection. And the honoring of others, the treating of others equally and fairly are sort of the core values from people who have natural number 1. So they're using all the muscles in here. If you move, put your fingers on the bottom of your throat, right under your chin, and then move the bottom of your tongue around. You can feel those muscles move. So on 1, those are usually quite developed and already naturally taught. I don't know, Michael, if you're aware of those muscles and if yours are quite firm there, that's a real indicator. Because if you're a 1, that's your center of your movement. That's where you balance your body from. It's quite incredible to think about balancing your body from your throat. for twos, there's two states of being. There's neutral. Darby Stanchfield has a beautiful two neutral face on right there. Even tone. Twos don't get wrinkles. They're very lucky because they hold this neutrality in their face most of the time. They don't make weird expressions. If you look at everybody on the screen, we all have some sort of weird expression on our face. Nobody here is a two. If we had a two, they'd look like Darby, neutral, no weird face, no weirdnesses. And then these pictures actually get progressively more engaged. Michael McConaughey is a little bit more engaged. And then my friend there at the end, when there's no name, they're not a public figure. She's ready and moving into full engagement. And when that happens, the cheeks actually come up and in, and only twos get these sort of up and in cheekies right here. And the eyes start to sparkle. And so you see a real change from those neutral eyes that Darby has to the sparkly eyes of my friend. The movement happens at the upper abs. So if you put your hands on those muscles at the top third of the six pack, so they go right up under the ribs, they have this movement and flexibility at this part of the body that's quite astounding. Yes, you can't see my, well, I don't move that well there, so they're not missing much. But that ability to move in this middle section around the upper abs is quite something. Examples of Michael Flatley, Riverdance. When you watch him dance, he's lifted there, he's expanded, and he can also shimmy around that space. Britney Spears, you watch her dance, she has this ability to slide at that part of the body. So there's so many examples out there of this two movement. If people can move at that part of the body, highly likely that they have natural number two. So there's our three face. We've got Steve and Phoenix and Katie. Katie, if you say something, you'll come to the front here so I can see you too. If you're willing to come forward. So it's this long, narrow face. Where's Katie? She should come forward. There she is. There we go. So these really, pretty darn long faces in our threes. Steve, you need to say something too, so you come to the front next to these guys. Also, the round focused eyes when the face is neutral. Katie, I don't know if you can take your glasses off for us too. Cool. And then Phoenix, so if you guys can come a little closer, up to the camera for us. Those round focused eyes. Look at the focus in Phoenix and Katie's eyes. Oh, that's great. Thanks, Katie. So they're round, and then they can't help but smile. Because what they're looking for is they're looking for your soul. They're looking for you to show up. And they want to help you feel how amazing you are and how powerful you are and how important you are. And they want you to know who you could become, and they want to help you to be that. They always want the best for you. And when they engage, you get this full smile like Joe Montana and my other friend there. It's like, and so you get these lines here, and you get a secondary smile line often on the face of threes as well. But this is, can you fake it till we make it here, ladies, so we can see? So the cheek here flattens down, which is really interesting because it comes up on the outside edge. And the top lip usually goes above the gum line when threes smile. Their smile is completely full and all the way into the eyes. Very beautiful. Typically, they stay lean and narrow. Their bodies are typically, thank you, Katie, very lean and narrow. And they're using they have pokey collarbones, I call them. But essentially the collarbone in the front where it connects into the manubrium pops kind of out. It's almost like you could put water in into the dip behind the collarbone on natural number threes. And they lift from this part of the body. Yes, very nice, Katie. Thank you for demoing for us. So it's this lift, and everything rotates around that part of the body. The manubrium is the center point, and there's this very straight shoulder line of the body. And as I said, they're usually lean and have trouble keeping weight on over the course of their lives. Our fours, The face of the 4 has got this softness around the jaw. So it's super soft and relaxed. There's no tension held around the mouth of the 4, other than the pleasant response they have to people. You can see they're all sort of pleased. There's a little pleased kind of like, I'm willing to be here with you expression on their faces. The eyes are deep, often watery, very inviting. Their energy, their presence draws you to them. They feel very warm, and relationship with them, it feels like they're important in the moment to you when you're connected with them. We talk about them having a bubble that they can put you in. If they put you in the bubble, you feel this beautiful sense of acceptance. And they teach us how to handle ourselves, to understand that our emotions are actually a source of wisdom. And then how do we understand the wisdom within our emotions? They use the muscles of the low abdomen both to go inside and to drop down, to breathe in the world with the breath. And as they exhale, it brings it down. And they have this amazing ability to just keep going down inside. Most of us hit some spot where we get stuck. The 4s, it's just more in. It's much more peaceful. I love to do 4 because most people love it when I do 4 because I do slow down and get a little more present. And it's good for me. And this is it's a good example of how you can learn to apply the activation of the other numbers to expand your skill set to be with people in a different way. And 1, 2, 3, and 4 specifically teaches how to be with each other more effectively. Why don't you do 5?
So natural number 5, our eyes are round, observing, actively looking when we're actually with you. But there's also the thinking face. You may have friends that suddenly they'll look up and they won't say anything for a second because they can't look and process at the same time. And we are very much about helping other people get to be what we think they can be. So it's a helpful place to be, but it's also trying to build a context. One of the reasons that Susan and I do what we do is that Susan is very much about what's alive and helping as a even number describe the body. As an odd number, I'm a little bit less body connected, but I'm a little bit more idea connected. So I'm going to be, your friends that are talking about, well, they help me understand this, or it doesn't make sense in the context, or they actually have an amazing ability to understand when people aren't necessarily consistent with themselves. Then natural number 5s are going to be scanning you. Okay, what is it that you think you're saying versus what is it that fits into the world framework that they have?
And they have bigger heads. The top of the head is typically bigger and rounder, and than the lower part of the head. And those very round eyes are another, and also a little bit more space between the nose and the upper lip than most people, which is, yeah, exactly, right in there. Interesting aspect there. So they're using the parietal bone and the muscles on the side of the spine. So they're stretching up and opening to the heavens. And that's the activation.
And if you get lost, if you get to be in a place where, how do I solve this problem? Or how do I think about this? This seems too big for me. Just pull down, just connect this and build a tension between the top of your head and what we call the infinite river or the infinite lake that's above your head. That's available to all of us. You just have to pull down, connect to it. You'll be amazed at what you can think about.
And when I get upset and confused and overwhelmed, I go sit in his office. And then all of a sudden I get clarity. So just our presence has an impact on how we show up. If he's here sitting next to me and he gets all agitated, I lose it. So we have this, powerful impact on each other. So 6s expand their chest. And when they expand their chest, the eyes take this quality of waiting and awareness. And there's a vibrant aliveness in their eyes as well, but it's not connecting. 6s aren't looking to connect, but they're very, very aware of what's going on in the present moment when they're in their power. All 3 of these pictures are great shots of people in their power. They're all ready for whatever's coming next. It's not the 8 readiness, it's the what's coming next in the energy so that they can do their job. Their job is to receive the input from the other natural numbers, from the universe, whatever's present, make sense of it, and then figure out what's needed to be done next.
And they have an amazing sense of timing. Most of the late night comedians all have the same number because they are so good at reading an audience and being able to respond. If you watch Robin Williams live, he is a master of timing. It's all about the timing, knowing when to push, when to hold back, and how to move things.
And Morihei Ueshiba, sensei, founder of Aikido, studied this, and he was able to, at the end of his life, move people without actually touching them, just by the move, by shifting the energy. So the sixes are hyper aware of energy and the power energy has to create and manifest. So they're using the intercostal muscles and the third to about the sixth rib to expand the chest into a drum-like structure so that they can actually take in that information and make sense of it. The easiest way to do that is to learn to breathe into your chest and then keep that expansion while you continue to breathe. It's part of why sometimes sixes can have a breathless quality. The more in their strength they are, the more breathless their voice might sound. And then our sevens, the mysterious, infinite changers of the world. The quality in their, as they call them, their little eyes, is infinite. And mysterious, and they draw that you want to know the secret that they hold. But what they're really looking at you with is the forehead, the third eye. And I think I mentioned before, they punctuate and they communicate so much with their heads.
If you watch people and the people around you, if they greet each other with a nod,
It's a little,
then that's possibly natural number 7. They literally will nod at you as soon as they meet you.
It's a specific 7 greeting, especially if it's 2 sevens. It's like they go like, I know we probably look retarded doing that, but if we were 7s, we'd look really cool. So you're looking, when you see that heavy brow, that eye here that's looking at you, that infinite quality in the eyes. There's also the cheek part here is a little flat. I've started to notice this quality that they have this kind of, from the eye down, a little flatness in the cheek from the eye. And they have, so it's almost like it gets shiny there on 7s.
So if you have someone that comes to you and is always telling you how things can be better, and is always suggesting that things could be improved or that you could do something better, always talking, always giving an idea about how anything can be better, might be natural number 7. And the one thing I will say is that these guys are 1,000 times more vulnerable than you think. They care so much, they will risk relationship with you to tell you how things could be better. They're not doing it out of a sense of personal empowerment. They're doing it because they know that things can be better. And it's not their ego driving them, it's their desire for the world to be better. And they really, really care. So just be aware that they're vulnerable and they care, and they're giving you a gift. It may not seem like a gift, it may really sound harsh, but they're trying to give you a gift. So just be aware that not everyone is.
Yes. Sarah, are you there? If you say something, you'll come to the front. She's our 7 on this call, and you'll see her face looks just like this. No, can't get herself turned on. No big deal. But
Can you hear me?
There she is.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get it.
No, I just wanted them to see your 7 face. So you see the same thing. She has this energy in her brow and this kind of flatness in her cheek here. And unfortunately, she's not close enough in the picture, not clear enough all the way from Germany to see the quality in her eye. There she is.
Yes,
thank you.
And personal message for you, Sarah, people don't know how much you care.
Right. And we're sorry. We don't mean to hurt your feelings. If you say that to
I'm worried all the time.
Yeah. Wait, give us a head nod. She's being sweet. Yes. Yes. Very good. So we already talked about all this, but they often close their eyes and focus here. 7s are good at leading guided meditations if they decide they want to do that.
They're great at optimizing process.
Yep. Making things more efficient, work better. and they truly care. And I think that's care about making the world a better place, and that kind of drives them. We've talked to some sevens about having what they call their utilitarian calculus. They have questions that they ask themselves over and over again. So everything gets analyzed through the questions of, is it good for the world? Is it good for me? Is it the right thing for me to do? And if it is, am I doing my best? And sevens are always asking those questions of themselves and of what they're doing. And when they get no's on something that's been yes for a while, they can suffer from existential dread. And sevens know what existential dread is. The rest of us are like, what's that? And basically it's like, oh, what I was working on doesn't actually matter. Maybe I don't matter. And it can be a nasty spiral. So Sarah, if you ever experience that, just take a deep breath and say, what one thing can I do to get myself out of the spiral? And start with one step at a time. And that's true for all of us if we do our spirals. But all right, good. Thanks, Sarah. Our eights, strong jawline, resolute eyes. They're ready to act. They know what to do. They know how to listen to the body and understand the wisdom that comes from the body, the earth, our way of being. And they are there to teach us what does it mean to be respectful, to trust, to build relationships from a place of integrity, to build anything from a place of integrity. So who needs to be consulted, who needs to be brought in, who needs to do what? They're very, very good with that.
And they build their relationships on trust. And it takes a long, long time to build trust, and it can be lost almost instantly. If you think someone's natural 8, please say what you're going to do and do what you're going to say, or at least say as soon as you can't do it, because their world is very much about building that trust. And if they trust you, they will be the warmest, most loving, most attentive, best friends in the whole world. And if they don't, they won't.
Good luck.
And it's very hard to build trust back when it's lost.
Yeah, if you have broken trust with an 8, it's very hard to reestablish.
You have to fix yourself.
Yes. And then the movement center is actually from the spine, the sacrum, down through the legs, the gluteus maximus, and into the thighs. And it's a triangular power structure down each leg, and with the earth as a base. So they actually integrate the earth into their strength and movement. And then 9, let's see, Steph is a 9. Steph, why don't you say something? You'll come back up here on our screen.
I'm here.
There we go. So when the more present and aware a 9 is, the less they actually look like they're paying attention to the rest of the world. You see these 3 faces, all 3 of them, they have a softness here, and Steph has it in her face as well. This soft thing in the jaw, the jawline. And their eyes aren't looking in, they're not looking out. They're there, but there's nothing particular they're communicating, either with their expression or with their eyes. So they get misunderstood a lot. And most 9s learn that to make some sort of face so that people think they're paying attention. But the reality is, when you see this face, this is really aware. These people are very, very aware of where they are in the space of the universe, probably more aware than you are. 9s know how to move through the world without causing an impact. So you don't even know sometimes that they're there and that they're working really hard. When you ask a 9 to do something, they know all the steps that you ask them to do. You may think you asked them one thing, but they know that there are 7 other things that go along with that. So often they will wait to say yes or not say yes because they know what you've asked.
And they know the impact of everything they do. And they make sure that everyone is included. And it's a very important role to be able to make sure that everyone's included and everything's kept in balance and in harmony. Harmony and balance, inclusion are the words we use to describe 9.
So 9s go out into the world and they try to balance things and fix things and make things better. And they can see when there's going to be a big problem ahead well before everybody else sees it. And for you, Steph, when you see those big problems coming, tell somebody, tell the people that can do something about it. It isn't necessarily your job to fix that problem, but you're going to see it way before And the earlier in a, we understand harmonics, like things get bigger and bigger and bigger when they're really out of balance. So that the earlier in the process you can fix it, the easier it's going to be for whoever's involved in fixing things. When nines wait too long, that then we lose the wisdom of how to balance and make things really work without leaving anybody out and without hurting anybody or doing anything wrong. So 9 is very important function in our world. The movement center is the top 2 ribs through so this part rolls and opens, and the shoulder blades drop in, flatten on the back. So when you roll those shoulders back, the shoulder blades drop in, and then the rhomboids and the trapezius balance the back. If you touch the back of a 9 when they're in that position, like there's a tremendous amount of musculature on either side of the spine. And 9s know how to actually balance their body from the back. The rest of us, with the exception of 8, but 8 really balances with the earth. The rest of the natural numbers are more balanced from the front or the top of their head or the head. But 9 actually balances from the back, and that's very fluid. It's very expansive, and it's very responsive. It's also nice to practice because it takes a lot of pressure off the rest of your body, where most of us put a lot of pressure in the front of our bodies. It's nice to practice 9 because it helps you be open and aware.
And you can do it in a door frame. So one hand either side of the door frame, and just gently lean into it and focus, bring that attention to your upper back.
And breathe.
And breathe.
Harmoniously. Don't force your stretch. Don't force your breath. Let your breath lead you. That's what 9s can teach us.
And you'll know you'll get there if your peripheral vision suddenly gets wider and stronger.
And you start to be aware of things beyond the scope of what's in the room. A 9 can expand their awareness to be aware of the entire universe at the same time. And so wherever a 9 puts the breadth of their awareness out into the space, they become aware of it. If Steph wanted to, she could feel her neighbors breathing in her in the building structures next to her. It's how in the universe they are.
So what we've covered today is the different ways that our bodies turn up. And for everyone you meet, a little bit of conscious thought, first time you meet someone, or even with your friends, or if you want a conversation to have over Thanksgiving, you'll relate the people in the room with you or over Zoom. Do the people with you create relationship with their eyes or through their presence? How close do they like to be? And it is slightly different, but it's not very different. Even within families and friends, the numbers still like their distance or not. Are people high-toned or relaxed? I'm really floppy. Susan's really high-toned. Numbers, people are consistently one or the other. What is their face shape like? Where do they move and gesture from? When they're excited, do they move from down here? Do they move from lower body? Are they talking up here? Are they moving and cheerleading? How big is their smile? What sort of energy do they build? Do you feel from them? Do they want to play with you? Do they want to talk with you? Do they want to build relationship? Do they want to play games? Every one of the natural numbers approaches relationships and life and activities differently. And no one is wrong. Everyone needs to be honored because each of us has this special gift to give to everybody else. And if you think someone likes eye contact and you don't, try it. It's going to feel really strange to start with, but they will really enjoy it because you've seen them in a way they haven't been seen by you before. And vice versa. If you like eye contact, it's okay to ask for it.
Yeah.
I can be with you better if you give me eye contact, or some phrase like that. I can hear you better, or we will have more fun if we make eye contact. There's a million ways to do that. And you can ask. If natural number 7, if you think someone's a 7, ask them, what are they thinking? They will be amazingly happy to be asked how they're thinking. Each of us has things that we like to be asked about, and it's different by natural number. Each of us care about something different by natural number. And 70% of communication is nonverbal. And actually, it's 9 different ways. And as Susan said, our faces are misunderstood. Our powers of posture are misunderstood. Just because I connect upwards, I'm strongest when I'm connecting upwards. I don't need the huge chest forward, which is traditionally the power posture. Everybody's body is talking to you all the time. And what we've tried to do today is give you some hints about where to look. And
yeah, because this is actually, we've started to realize that it's a lifestyle. The first thing you do is to find out your natural number. And then you learn about yourself. And then you start to learn about other people. And what follows that is actually practicing the awarenesses in your body. So you can become this like really cool cosmic human who can talk to people and understand and not judge from your own lens, so that you can be open to more. And who knows really what's available at the outside edges here. You know, we always like, just don't disbelieve. If you think you can do something, you probably can.
just by opening your throat and being gentle, softening your eyes when you're talking to somebody, even over the phone, it'll change the quality of that interaction. If you're having a bad time, someone on the phone's not helping you, be gentle, open your throat, soften your eyes. Remember, and they need to be honored. Honor that person with your throat open. Your voice will soften, and you will be amazed how that interaction will just change just by that simple physical movement.
Yes. And there's a lot of exercises in, yes.
So,
I guess we really just talked about why it's important.
Yes,
Yeah.
but the gifts, you have things that come with you. Your body can do things that nobody else can do, and everybody can do everything. We're not saying that a certain natural number has to do a certain thing, but how that natural number does something is going to be different in 9 different ways. If you're in a place where you have to be meeting people every day and you hate meeting people, that's maybe learning how to do a different natural number will make that job easier for you.
The book has exercises. So if you want to start to have some practices, both for your own natural number and for the others. It also describes how you can support somebody. So if you know somebody like Katie's partner, I hope this is okay to say, is a 6. So Katie knows to ask him to look her in the eye. She knows that he's not going to do that naturally. He knows that he needs to greet Katie when she comes home, that's actually important. Or if he doesn't, please remind him, Katie, because it's not his natural. He's doing something when she gets home and he wants to finish what he's doing because he's a 6 and we like to do things. So the book is full of information about how you can support people of each of the natural numbers and how you can ask to be supported as well. I don't know if you guys who've known your number for a while felt this, but for me, when somebody actually meets me in my 6 world, I love it. It's so nice. And it doesn't happen very often, even though we know this, because it's hard. Martin has a hard time holding the intensity of 6. I have a hard time calming myself down enough to be with him. So these are really good practices. And there's lots and lots and lots of information in the book around it. Sometimes people say, well, how can we help you, Susan and Martin, get this out into the world? We're at the point now where we're ready to actually do that. We really feel ready to tell the world about this. And that's part of why we started the webinars and the book is out there. So feel free to tell your friends. We tried to make the language a little more mainstream. So that's why we went to natural number from where we were before. The more people that find out about this, the more we're going to be able to have some dialogue about what it means and why it's important, and actually uncover new information as well. So, you know, we ask you guys who know this work, share it. Tell people about the book. Loan your book to a friend if you have one already. Ask them what they think they are. And then we are doing online identifications now. COVID has really opened things up for us.
But we also believe the book has enough knowledge for people to at least get close, if not actually identify themselves. We've had some experience. In fact, so far, the people that have thought to identify themselves using the book have managed to do so. So it's pretty exciting stuff. It removes many of the bottlenecks that we had in the past. And we're pretty excited about it.
Yes. So thank you for being here with us and for being part of our support team. You know, it's great. We really appreciate it. And we do believe this is important to get out into the world. And we hope you do too. Does anybody have any questions?
Okay, guys, we really appreciate your time. Have a great rest of the weekend and
Stay in touch.
Stay in touch.
Yeah.
Thank you a lot.
Bye.